जय राधा हरि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ओ यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा जन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ नारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंद जन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radhe, Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radhe, Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda. Oh, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Hanuman, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Shri Radha Gokula Nand ki jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So welcome, thank you so much, Krishna. Welcome everybody. Today we're going to discuss something from the Bhagavad Gita. I was asked to choose a verse of my choice, so I've chosen verse number 66 from the second chapter. So we will just read that verse and then we'll discuss a little bit about it. Text 66, if I can get hold of it. Yeah. This Bhagavad Gita has seen better days, I think. No, that's fine. I can manage as long as the page is there. But maybe we could replace this. So, before we recite the shloka itself, we'll do some Mangala prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Namine Snigdha Cheta Supraneta Vagvinam Charasaprutam Prabhupada Gata Prana Naumi Bhakti Charu Padam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll recite this verse, number 66 from the second chapter. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana na cha bhavayatah shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Translation, Prabhupada gives the translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll read the purport as well, so purport by Srila Prabhupada as well. So this particular verse is part of the verses in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which are called the Sthita Prajna verses. Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna about the symptoms of a sadhu, who is a person who has perfected his devotional life. Question is, how does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? These are the questions he's asking. So this is towards the end of that. So Krishna is saying to him, one who is not connected with the Supreme Lord can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. So without a steady mind and transcendental intelligence, we cannot have peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So we know also, if there is no peace in our life, happiness cannot exist. So this verse, Krishna is giving to Arjuna in explanation of a transcendentalist, what a perfect devotee would be like. So a perfect devotee would have transcendental intelligence, and he would be steady in mind, and therefore he'll have peace, and that's how he will have happiness. We'll read the purport, short purport. Prabhupada says, unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in his life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested, peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Krishna consciousness, meaning that we should be connected to Krishna in one way or the other. The living entity is part and parcel, the soul is part and parcel of the Lord. The Supreme Lord is out there in the spiritual world, and we are all part and parcels of Him, eternally, not just one time. For some reason, and the reason we will never find out, because the reason exists over there, we don't know why. But we separated ourselves from Krishna, and this is why we are down here in the material world. the material world is not our natural position. The spirit souls belong in the spiritual world, and the material conditioning that we have with this body and the surroundings of the material nature is artificial. It's like a fish out of water. So, this particular verse is talking about happiness. What is happiness? Generally speaking, when you think about what is happiness, people will think about, oh, if I had this much amount of money, I would be happy. Somebody may say, if I had this car, this type of car, I'm out of touch with all the latest models of the cars, but whatever, Tesla or whatever, top model, that'll make me happy. Somebody might say, oh, if I had a very nice husband or a nice wife, I'll be happy. But you see, these are all material considerations. And that happiness cannot be lasting. Even if you had a lot of money, as we know, comes and goes. Lakshmi is very chanchal. Chanchal means Lakshmi doesn't stay in one place for long. So even if you do have money, eventually at some point you may lose it. Maybe you're very fortunate, you'll keep it for this lifetime. But when you come to your next lifetime, there's no guarantee that money is not going to come with you. So that next life may be poverty. So this is way it's not going to be with you permanently. So, chapala sukha. So all this sukha that we're looking for is chapala sukha. And this world of advertising is attracting all of us, dragging us to that kind of happiness. You know, the billboard of a beautiful car, billboard of so many different things, and you think, oh, I want this, and if I get this, I'll be happy. And they portray those posters in such a way that there's a very happy man or a happy woman standing next to this object that they're trying to sell. And we think, okay, I'll be like that. When I was young, I think maybe some of you are my sort of age, you will know there used to be an ad on a TV before the smoking ads were banned, quite a few years ago now. Nowadays, you don't see any smoking ads anywhere on television. But in those days, we used to have these ads, and I remember very, very distinct this cigar called Hamlet. It's a short, small cigar called Hamlet. And the ad, the punchline used to be, happiness is a cigar called Hamlet. Does anybody remember that? Yes, at least one in my age, yeah. So see, happiness, how can a cigar be happiness? Cigar will kill you eventually. But this is how the whole advertising, marketing is driving us to this consumerism, which is driving us deeper and deeper into the material world when we should be getting out of it, not getting deeper into it. You know? So it's just elusive. Happiness is elusive in the material world. So Shastra explains that the bodily pleasures will be not lasting, and the bodily pleasures are the same, whether you are in a human body or in an animal body. So the ahar, nidra, bhaya, maithun. These are the four things that all living entities do. Ahar, anybody know what ahar means? Eating, yes, eating. So human beings eat, animals eat, birds eat, insects eat, everybody eats. Nidra, sleep. We all need to sleep. Bhaya in this sense is fear, but actually it means defending. So we all defend ourselves. You know, we have complex alarm systems at home and all sorts of things. Animals have their own defense systems. God's given them claws and teeth and stuff like that to defend themselves. So defending is going on. And maithun, having children and all that is common throughout, isn't it? So now, if as human beings, these are the only four things we do, then what is the difference between us and the animals? Isn't it? If you look around, what are people doing? People are eating, people are sleeping, people are working hard and defending themselves, and of course, they have their families. And most people stop there, thinking that life is all about just doing these things and do the best you can and be happy. But no, the human body has been given to us, not for just doing these things. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, it's a chapter about Rishabhadev, Lord Rishabha, who was the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He is instructing his sons. So Lord Rishabhadev is saying to his sons, Rishabha Uvacha, Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Niloke Kashtan Kaman Harade Vibhujam Ye Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Satvam Sudyed Yasmad Brahma Saukhyam Tvanantam. So here Lord Rishabha is saying to his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities, one who has been awarded this human body, human form, should not work hard day and night just for sense gratification. Because sense gratification is also available to dogs and hogs. They eat stool, but they still get their own sense gratification in their own way. But what the human being should do, we should engage in penance and austerity to, what is it exactly here? We should, my dear boys, one should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, he's saying, one's heart is purified. And when one attains this position, he attains the eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness. And not just that, it continues forever. So, as human beings, we need the limited time we've been given. We've all been given 60, 70, 80, 90 years, whatever we have. But that is still very, very short in the bigger scheme. So that's whatever time we have been given in this human body, we must utilize it to try and connect back to our Supreme Lord. Try and connect the soul back to the Lord so that we can get out of this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. Otherwise, what happens is, if you've done some good karma, you get a good birth. Bad karma, bad birth. Like that, it continues, right? Until you come to a stage where you can get out. And to get out is very simple. In one way, it's very difficult because we are so much conditioned with the material enjoyment and sense gratification that most people do not even look away from that. But actually, the simple thing is, if we follow Shastra, if we engage ourselves in devotion service, there's two duties for human beings, Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. So Swadharma means activities relating to our body. And we should not ignore them. Of course, we have responsibilities. So we have to look after our family, make sure our children get educated, make sure there's enough money in the house to run. So all those things are necessary. So nobody is saying give those up. But most people are just stuck there. They're not doing anything else, just Swadharma. Sanatan Dharma, which is the eternal Dharma. Swadharma is a temporary Dharma, which will finish with this body. When we leave this body, and every one of us has to leave this body, Chatasihi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mrityasya. Whoever has taken birth is bound to die, and whoever has died is bound to take birth. So we have, without fail, one thing that is certain is death. So when we die, everything that we have accumulated materially, family-wise, business-wise, wealth-wise, nothing's going to come with you. Not a pin will come with us. What will come with us is our bhakti. Bhakti comes with us. And there's a proof. Sometimes we'll say, okay, many times when we give these programs in home, some youngsters challenge, how do you know? We say, oh, Shastra says that. But well, somebody's made this up. How do you know? But there is tangible proof. There's tangible proof. When you see, not just ISKCON, we see many examples like this. You see many times you have non-Indian devotees, right? We have devotees here who didn't even know the word Krishna until they were 20, 22, 23, something like this. They happened to meet a devotee, got a book on the street, started to come to the temple, and suddenly, from nowhere, they can explain shlokas to you. They can actually recite shlokas. Our previous temple president, his name is Gauri Prabhu. Gauri Prabhu was a Scottish devotee. Born in Scotland, didn't meet the devotees till he was about 20, 21. Became a devotee. Gauri Prabhu can recite without looking at the book. How many verses in the Bhagavad Gita? Anybody know? 700. 700 verses. Gauri Prabhu, who's not even from an Indian background, doesn't know Sanskrit, but he can, he did not know Sanskrit at the time. But now, he can recite all 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita without looking and explain them. Not just, sometimes you can paraphrase, sometimes you can photographic memory, you can do that. No, he can actually recite them and explain them. How did this happen? So this is the proof that that soul in the previous life had this connection, right? And that bhakti has come with him. And this is why in this life, he's been able to really fast track. So when you see any youngster or any devotee who comes and goes like that, you see also in India we have sometimes very young, sort of, I've seen on television sometimes somebody's 10, 12 years old and they're doing katha, proper, really nice katha. How does that happen? Because of previous life. So people who don't believe in rebirth will never understand this. But we know, and there is proof, that yes, and bhakti does go with you. Whatever you've done in this life, if you've just done 10%, next life you start from 11, not from 0. And if you've done 50, you start from 51. So that will come with us. So as a human being, we need to make sure that you don't lose this opportunity. Because there are 8.4 million species of life. Gujarati we say 84 lakh. Yoni. So many people think, sometimes when people talk about, okay, next life, they always think about human beings. They think next life I'll come maybe in a different family. Poor family, rich family, whatever. You always think, because our mind is limited to just thinking about like that. But actually no. We can be going into so many different yonis, 8.4 million different species of life. And this figure of 8.4 million is not something that somebody's just made up. In the Upanishad, it is explained, Jalaja Nava Lakshani, Sthavara Laksha Vimsati. Lost my page. Sthavara Laksha Vimsati. Pakshinam Dasa Lakshanam, Vimsha Lakshani Pasava, Chatur Lakshani Manava. So I'll do this. Is there somebody here good at maths? Let me just sort this out. It's not working properly. Okay. Yeah. So, if I say Jalaja Navalakshani. So Jala means water. So within water, Navalakshani means Navlak, which is 900,000. So Prabhuji, maybe you can keep a count, right? 900,000. So 900, yeah, you can take other help if you want, yes. 900,000 species in the water, right? Then he says, Sthavara Laksha Vimsati. Sthavara means things that can't move. So trees, plants, mountains, whatever, right? Those are Laksha Vimsati, 2 million. So you got 900,000, so there are 2 million species of trees, plants, creepers like that. Then he says, before that it says, Krimiyo Rudra Shankyakam. Rudra means 11. So Krimiyo means insects, so creepycrawlies, all these things, right? Rudra, so 1.1 million of different insects. Okay? Then he says, Pakshinam Dasalakshanam. Daslak. So what's the Daslak is? 1 million. 1 million different types of birds. Right? And then he says, Trimshal Lakshani Pashava. 3 million types of animals. Right? And Chatur Lakshani Manava. So Chatur Lakshani means 4 lakh, 400,000. What's the total? You got it mentally, right? 8.4 million, right? Yeah. So this is how it comes. So it's there. It's explained in Shastra in detail. Now, somebody would say, who went to count them? How do we know? No, you don't have to go and count them because you will never be able to count them, right? But we know the information comes from Shastra. So people who are more enlightened than us in previous ages, they have this information, they passed it down. So certain information from Shastric information, we cannot justify with our limited brains. So we have to accept it as it's coming down. So this information is given. So the human birth, so imagine, so out of all the different categories I gave you, human is the smallest actually, only 400,000, right? There are more insects than humans. There are a lot more animals than humans. There are more trees than humans. There are even more aquatics than humans. So to get a human body actually is quite rare. And even within humans, it says 400,000 different types. Why? Because there are some who are aborigines, some are not sort of civilized at all. But to come to our level, to a civilized human being, where you can come to a temple and understand what's going on, those kind of living beings are very, very rare. So it's an opportunity which has been given to us. And the example that one Prabhu gave one time, which just stuck to my mind, is like, it's like being, imagine huge football, well, maybe a round stadium, massive stadium, right? And it's got one little door, that's all, that you can get out of. Now, somebody's put you in there and blindfolded us, right? So you are allowed to just touch, not look. So you're touching the walls, you're walking around, you're walking, and it's a massive stadium. And your only way to get out is when you get to that door and recognize, oh, there's a door, and you push it and come out, right? So we've been going, this is the different lifetimes. We've been ants, animals, fishes, we've been doing like this, right? And we get to this door, which is the human being, where you can get out. And what happens when you get that door? Get distracted. You start, and then you walk by, and that's it. You miss that door, and you gain 8.4 million, right? So that we don't get distracted in this life. And there are so many distractions. So we are told that to avoid the distractions, whilst we look after our Swadharma, please do not ignore the Sanatana Dharma. Come to the temple, listen to classes, get the books, read the books, try and understand, chant Krishna's names. There is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's names. In the material world, everything is like duality. But in spiritual world, it is absolute. So, the Krishna and Krishna's name is no different. Nama namino abhinna. So, when we say Krishna, chanting at home, although we come and see Krishna here, it's the same potency. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the central personality here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Siksha, in the, what do you call that? The 8 verses he's given us. Anyway, the second verse, it goes, it's gone. Anyway, it'll come back to me. So, now, so happiness, right? So it seems right now, okay, the material world, we're trying to get happiness in so many different ways. We're creating all these gadgets and everything that we think that they're going to give us more happiness. But actually, what they're doing is they're creating more problems. They're creating pollution, environmental catastrophes. There's mass destruction weapons. All this, they're creating things. Diseases are increasing because of our way of life is not sattvic. We're all living, microwave lives. So all those things are increasing. And despite all the advancement that the civilization seemingly have made, there is distress. So many people are depressed. In every year, there are more than 800,000 suicides in this world. Think about it. 800,000 people have needlessly taken their life because of depression. So, who still thinks that this place is a happy place? Not possible. In the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is full of miseries and is temporary. So we need to make a way to get out. 8:15. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam naknuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. So people, Krishna says in this verse, that this place is full of miseries and is temporary. But those who have made connection with me, those who will come back to me, for them there is no danger because they will reach the highest platform and get out of this cycle of life and death. Because the other way people try to be happy in this world is to do good things. So there's two ways. You can say there is Sukriti. Sukriti is 2 types. Sukriti is material Sukriti, by being generous, by opening hospitals, by feeding the poor. All these things are good and very useful. But the Sukriti you're getting from those activities are material Sukritis, that will guarantee a good life for you within this lifetime and perhaps a good life in the next janma. That is material Sukriti. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But long term, what we need to do is get the spiritual Sukriti. And the spiritual Sukriti is not something that will give you benefit immediately, but that is like a bank account, a spiritual bank account. So things like chanting the names of the Lord, coming to the temple, attending the arti, attending classes, reading scriptures, understanding scriptures, learning shlokas, observing festivals like Ekadashi, Janmashtami, like that. So those activities are spiritual. And the Sukriti from that goes into our spiritual bank account. So here we have the material bank account, where when we open an account in Barclays Bank, put in the money, spend the money, so up and down, up and down. Whereas, and the material Sukriti also works like that. You can earn piety by doing good deeds, but then you can also deplete it. So say, for example, the best result of material piety could be that in your next life, you get born in the Svargaloka. In the Svargaloka, the Ayusha is 1,000 times more than us. They live long, long, long lives. They have opulence which we can't even imagine. They have enjoyment of different kinds which are beyond our wildest dreams. But even there, it is said that once, it says, Shine Punya Martalokam Vishanti. It is said that once the pious credit has been exhausted, because over there you can just enjoy, and you can't put more in your account. But when that account is zero, it's like going to a holiday. When you pay for a 2-week package holiday, maybe you go to Dubai and stay at the grandest hotel there for 2 weeks. But when that 2 weeks is over, when your payment is done, you can't stay there. You have to vacate. Similarly, Swargaloka, when our pious stock is finished, Kshine Punya Martalokam Mishanti, back down to the material world. So like that, it's being used up. But the spiritual security, the spiritual piety that we accumulate, that is forever. It's a one-way account. Can't take it out. As I was saying earlier, 10% devotional service this lifetime. That's 10% forever. Nobody can take it away from you. Right? Next time, add to it. You can't take it away from there. And that way, adding, you get to 100%, you're done. You don't have to take the birth again. Otherwise, Puranapi Jananam, Puranapi Maranam, Puranapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. Again, take birth, take that, and end up in some woman's womb. That is the difficulty that we have. But by accumulating our spiritual sukriti, we can make our way back. So for us to really digest and understand why we need to do this. Because if you think about just this life, I've got this body, I've got this family, I have just to make the best deal of what I have. And that's it. And then I'll die and whatever happens, we'll see. No. If we understand that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. Everything connected to this body is temporary, and the spiritual soul is the only thing that I have is permanent. So if I waste my life just doing things for the temporary existence, completely ignoring my eternal existence, then I'm getting a bad bargain here. Right? We all have been given the intellect and the intelligence to know this much at least, right? That I am not this body. And in the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, just earlier in this chapter, Krishna is saying, this is the first lesson he's giving to Arjuna, when Arjuna is confused about his duty. Arjuna is confused on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Oh, I don't want to kill my teachers. I don't want to kill my grandfathers, my cousins, my brothers. No, I don't want to kill anybody. So Krishna is now telling him that you are not this body. You are the soul. And the lovely example he gives is in the 13th shloka, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prati dhirastatana muhyati. He says that the embodied soul continually passes from one body to another. Just like from boyhood, just like the soul, from boyhood to youth to old age. So we were at this age, And we were looking completely different. And when he comes to my age, he will not have that body. He will not have a single cell of that body. Scientifically, it's proven, even the Western scientists accept that every 7 years, every single cell from our body is replaced. So actually, every 7 years, we're getting a new body. But we don't lament that. We don't think, oh, where's my old body? Oh, yeah, we may think, okay, I was young, I used to jump around, now I can't jump so much, stuff like that. Or I can't run as fast as I used to. Those things are fine. But we don't say, oh, I wish where is my body? Where is my body? But when that final change happens, when that change, because the body is changing all the time. Body from youth, baby to youth to old age. But from old age to a new body, it's also a change like that. So a sober person who's intelligent, who realizes, so it's just a journey, right? My duty in this body is now finished. My karma is now taking me somewhere else. So fine, I will go. And if you have prepared yourself, if we have all prepared ourselves by devotional service, by getting our connection with the Lord properly, we will not be afraid of that. What is there to be afraid of? Why people are afraid? Because it's a fear of the unknown. It's the fear, because nobody knows what's going to happen when you leave this body. People say these things, but where? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to me. But if you have been doing devotional service, if you have been a devotee, if you have been practicing, then you know for sure that, okay, if I have completed my devotional life in this particular body, then I'm going to go back to my Lord. And over there's no birth, there's no death, there's no old age, there's no disease. I have nothing to worry about. Why worry? Okay, if I haven't finished my business, devotional business in this life, then I'll come back. One thing is guaranteed. 6th chapter, text 41. Prapya punyakatam lokan ushvitva swashvati sama. Sushinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashta bijayate. He says that a person who hasn't finished his business in this life, yoga brashta, which means he didn't complete. For him, Krishna guarantees that he will get a birth either suchinam. Suchi means, in one sense, suchi means clean, but suchi also means brahmana. So you get a birth in a brahmana family or a devotional family, where he gets his chance to continue. Or he gets a chance, suchinam, shrimatam. Shrimatam means like an aristocratic family. So both are good births. So by doing this, you're guaranteed at least that much, right? That you're not going to go down and have a body of a dog or a hog. You're going to be born as a human being, not just in any human being, in a good family, so that you have a chance to continue. Because in a Brahmin family, you will follow what your father and mother are doing. In a rich family, you don't have to worry about your daily bread, so you'll have time to do different things. So this is guaranteed. So what was I saying? Yeah. So this way, at least by investing our time and our faculties in devotional service in this life, we're guaranteeing ourselves that we will not come back as any other being, but a human being. So, food for the body is what we eat, drink, whatever. That's food for the body. And necessary, yes, of course. What is food for the soul? Food for the soul is this. We're all feeding our souls right now. I'm feeding my soul by preparing for this class today, and by giving the class. You all are feeding your souls by listening to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is nothing that I own. I didn't make it up. I'm not as clever as this. All I'm saying is from these books, what I have learned from Prabhupada's books and from lectures I've learned from different devotees here. So by listening to that and by understanding it, that's when the soul feels happiness, isn't it? When you come, how many of us do any service? Any temple service? Anybody? Kitchen and whatever, deity service, whatever? Nobody? Oh yeah, Mataji, yes. So you Mataji will know, right? You may come home very tired, but when you come here and do some service, whether it's the kitchen, helping to cook some from prasadam, whether helping to clean the temple, whether helping with the queue system, whatever service you do, there is a unique sense of satisfaction. There's a unique happiness that you cannot find anywhere else. And we have devotees who are CEOs of companies. We have devotees who are top surgeons, right? And that in the day job, they are there. People are following them, and there's a very, very big post, right? But they will come here in the evening, and they will sweep the floors, and they will clean the big utensils in the kitchen. And they will get more satisfaction from doing that than the satisfaction they get during the day, even though they are eulogized by all these people who are working for him or following him. So there's this unique satisfaction that we get. And why is that satisfaction so different and so much more relishable? Because that satisfaction is of the soul. That's why. If you eat a nice wangi, maybe gulab jamun, rasgulla, kulfi, whatever you like, your body you feel satisfaction, and it's the bodily satisfaction, and it's fine. It'll just go away after a while, yeah. It cannot last, but the spiritual happiness is everlasting. Right? So must try and do that, because our body is Satchit Ananda. The Lord's body. Our body, not our body. Soul is Satchit Ananda. Our body is made of material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. But the Lord's body is Satchit Ananda. It says, made of Satchit and Ananda. Eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So the soul's eternal position is also, because we are a tiny part and parcel of the Lord. He says, 15 chapter, 15:7, Mamayvamsu jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That the living entity is a part and parcel of me, the Lord is saying. So if we are part and parcel, if you take a fruit and you take a little piece out of it, this is the same as a big fruit and a little piece. It's the same qualities. Similarly, we are part and parcel of Krishna, so our qualities are the same. We also are Satchit Ananda. But we are trapped in this temporary body, and our Satchit Ananda is covered. But because we are by nature Ananda Bhayo Bhyasat, by nature we are happy, that's why we are always looking for happiness. That's why we're always seeking happiness in this place, that place, that place. But the trouble is we are seeking for happiness in the wrong places always. We are seeking for temporary material happiness, which is not going to keep us happy all the time. So we all have our soul within ourselves, but there's some other personality also within each body. Who is that? Anybody knows? The super soul, Paramatma. Paramatma is within our heart. So it is said in the Upanishads that it is like two birds sitting in a tree. So the two birds are sitting in a tree. One bird is enjoying the fruits of the tree, sometimes bitter, sometimes sweet. And if it's sweet, he's enjoying it. Bitter fruits, it's struggling. It's disgusting. But the other bird is sitting there. It's got nothing to do with the tree. It's not eating anything. It's just observing. Anumanta upadrashta. It is just observing and trying to give a guidance. But this soul, this bird, is so engrossed in trying to enjoy the fruits that it's not even looking towards the other bird. So our position is the same. As a living entity in the material world, we are just trying to enjoy the different fruits that we think we will enjoy with. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, and I'll enjoy. I'll do this and I'll enjoy. We're just doing that. But the Paramatma is sitting there. And the Paramatma is just waiting for us to turn. Paramatma always saying to us, look at me, but we're not listening. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj explains it's like two dogs. So we all have two dogs in our hearts. But our bad dog, which is trying to drag us to the material life, is barking so loudly that the good dog, his bark is drowned out. So we need to quieten down our material life. Just do the necessary that we need to do. Don't need to run away from our responsibilities, but find time to feed the good dog. And once the good dog is fed and the good dog starts to bark louder, automatically the material dog will be silenced and he will be on the right path Right? These are lovely examples that devotees have given. So how to turn to Him? How do we turn to Him? So process is called yoga. So, we have nowadays, of course, the yoga. It's yoga, but a lot of people in English, they say yoga. Because it is spelled Y-O-G-A, but that last A is ga rather than ga. But in Western countries, they call it yoga. And we also follow sometimes, yoga classes, right? But it's yoga. But these yoga classes, or yoga classes we call them, they are meant to be. Patanjali, who was actually the one who actually introduced yoga system, Patanjali, whole purpose of yoga was to connect back to the Supreme Lord. The word yoga actually comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to connect. So by performing yoga of any kind, our ultimate aim should be to connect back to the Lord. So if you go into any yoga classes, and all they are doing is just showing you some bodily exercising and breathing exercising and some gymnastics, and if you're stopping at that, that is not real yoga. Of course, it's useful. Of course, you shouldn't knock it. If it's good for your health, you should do it. That's fine. But you should take it forward, because the reason for that kind of yoga is to pacify our mind, to make our mind steady, so you can then focus on the real purpose of yoga. If your mind is pacified by doing Ashtanga yoga or this kind of yoga, then you will get to a point where you will be in a peaceful stage of mind, where you will be able to relish the chanting of the name. Your mind will be peaceful, and you'll be able to enjoy reading his books. You'll be able to enjoy listening to his lectures. So that is fine. So we need to get to that stage. If you need to take advantage of physical yoga exercises to calm our mind, that's fine. But don't forget the end goal. The end goal is to try and connect. So what is the yoga for this age? In different ages, there are different processes. The yoga in this age, so in Satya Yuga, for example, in Satya Yuga, the process was meditation. So in Satya Yuga, people used to live for many, many years, thousands of years. So they would sit and do meditation for 1,000, 10,000 years. We hear classes where they say that, for example, here in Kashipu, he did tapa for 10,000 years. Now children sometimes argue, come on, this is all stories. How can somebody be? Yeah, but in those years, they used to live for 100,000 years. So they could do that. So tapa. Then Treta Yuga came. Treta Yuga, it was havan. They used to do massive havans. The havan nowadays, we have havan sometimes. We have a little havan kund and we have some wood and little fire. But no, in those days, the havan used to be tons and tons of samagri. Massive, massive havans they used to do. And also the pandits used to be really learned. And they could pronounce the slokas in such a way that they would actually produce fruit of those, whatever the fruit that you were looking for. Nowadays, we do it for the peace of mind, but not really that beneficial. It doesn't really work, because those kind of pandits, nowadays our pandits that we call to our house, they're more like business person. They will give you a menu. If you want this, I'll charge you this. If you want this, I'll charge you this. That's not a pandit. In the true sense, a pandit would come and do his kriya, and you give him dakshina. Whatever you give him, he should accept, not give you a menu card. But those pandits are not there anymore. And because of the impurity, the chanting of the slokas is not pure. So that doesn't work. Then comes in Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga came deity worship. So deity worship that we do still today is fine. But deity worship in those days was so powerful, because the people were 10 times more powerful than us, so they could focus. They could actually, standing in front of the deities, I admit, I come to the deities, I pay my pranams, and straight away I'm thinking, oh, who else is here? Let me see my friends here. Or think about, where did I park my car? I hope my car is safe. Your mind's all over the place. But in those days, they were so pakka, they were so focused that they could do deity worship, which was fruitful. Our deity worship is fine, but the real dharma for Kali Yuga, where we are now, is Sankirtan dharma, chanting the names of the Lord. Whether we chant in a public place like this, whether we chant on the streets, you see devotees on the streets sometimes chanting, whether we have our japamala and we do our Avamara and chanting. This chanting is the process in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the most fallen age. But the Lord being merciful, realizing that the people in Kali Yuga will be so short-lived, they will be so unintelligent, and all those things put together, He gave us the easiest process. Because He knew we won't be able to do tap, we won't be able to do yagyas. We can only do chant. So if we can chant this, chant the name of the Lord feelingly, and try and make a connection back with Him, that's all we need to do. And that will take us back to Godhead. So devotees, we're 2 minutes away from the Aarti, so I will stop here. If somebody's got a quick question, I will take it now. Otherwise, Aarti will be there in 2 minutes. Any questions, anybody? Any comments? Realizations? Nothing at all? Okay. So while we're waiting, let me see if there's anything. Yeah, okay. So this chanting, I'm going to just read a few things. Hopefully I can get them in the 2 minutes. The chanting is not just specific to either ISKCON or Hinduism, right? In the Bible, it says, from the rising of the sun to the setting, one should call upon God's name. This is in the Psalms 113.3. And it also says, whoever shall call upon the name of God, he shall be saved. This is in Romans 9:10-13. Then in Quran 87.2, it says, glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High. Lord Buddha, he says, he who calls upon my name, he shall attain paradise. So this way you can see that this is not just Hinduism or ISKCON. The chanting of the Lord, of the names of the Lord, is recommended by all different processes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You can do better. You can do better than that. Hare Krishna. And so we're gonna be singing Gora Arti. The lyrics are on the right front. It's a bhajan glorifying Lord Gorachandra or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I kindly request, for his pleasure, the louder we sing, the more enthusiastic we are, the better we dance, right? Yeah, he's literally in front of us, so please engage with as much energy as you can. So please repeat after me. Jayo, Jayo, Gorachane, Arati ko shobha. Chande arati ko shobha. Janavi tatavane jagamana chana game gadadara dakine nitai chan game gadadara Simhasane Ratna Simhasane Chandra Jene Vadana Ujala Chandra Jene Vadana Ujala Gala Deshe Vanamala Gore Jalamala Oh Gala Deshe Vanamala Gore Jalamala Goraka Shiva Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Shiva Sukha Narada O Preme Gada Gada O Narada Preme Gada Gada Sakadeve no dadeke O Gorarata Pada O Bhaktivedanta Manor O Gorarata Pada Jayo Jayo Gaura Jane Arati Ko Shobha Shiva Jayo Jayo Gaura Jane Arati Ko Shobha Jaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namine Vishnu Padaya Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachacha Deshatarine Nivishesha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Oh Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Oh Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Oh Hare Krishna Oh Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Gauranitai ki. Now, you can find some space to bow down. We're going to have the Prema Dwani prayers. Jaya Om Vishnupada. Okay, so sorry. When I say ki, you say Jai. Ki. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotara Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotara Sata Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Princess Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Namadvip Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan Ki. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki. Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. So when I say all glories to the assembled devotees, you say? All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thank you so much. So now we are going to have the final part of the arti, which is prayers for protection. Probably the most important part, so you really want to wait for this. We have a long week ahead to come, right? With so many activities out there, and we really do need protection from the Lord as His form, as Lord Nashingadev. In this form, He comes, He appears, in front of His devotees to protect them from all these dangers that there may be. So we're going to sing the Nashingadev prayer. Please, 3 minutes. Thank you, Haribo.
Namaste Narashinhaya. Adbhuta Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
And so thank you so much for all the enthusiasm that you've shown today. Thank you for your interaction. Thank you for your association. So now we're gonna have kirtan after this. We're gonna have one final arti for the day at 9 p.m. For those who are leaving, we'd like as the Bhaktivedanta Manor to wish you a successful week. Please remember to take shelter of Lord Krishna, and especially as his holy names. If you can chant some rounds, it will be crucial, literally crucial. It's crucial. It's a matter of life and death. Is that okay? Anyway, no, not to scare you, but please take shelter of the holy name. And we hope to see you during the week, if not during the weekend. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna!
You're starting, yeah? Nice one. Well done.
Hare Krishna, can I please request if everyone who's staying for Kirtan, if they can move a bit forward so we can create a nice atmosphere and we can also chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for their Lordship Shri Radha Gokulananda. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Deshatadine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama request if everyone can move forward and just come around here and we can all chant together. So if you could move forward. Thank you.
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Brahmanande.
We'll sing with you.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringha Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. Nasim Hare,